Hey soldiers, the US dollar as reserve currency is coming under more pressure. We've seen China here recently further reduce its reliance on the dollar in the all-important energy trading sector. They just did something that's kind of, has a dual effect of bringing it being China, bringing their digital currency into global prominence and also doing a transaction for energy, not using the de facto standard of the last few decades of the US dollar. So, look, we've talked about it ad nauseum here on the channel. There will come a day sooner rather than later where the dollar shares reserve status with, other currencies. There are a lot of people out here that don't think that can happen. And I don't know where they get that notion from, because no reserve currency in the history of currencies has lasted forever. In fact, they usually hold that status for less than a century, okay? And you could argue that the United States has had the distinction of having the world's reserve currency at the earliest, I'd say maybe around the 1920s or 30s at the latest, after we did the agreement with Saudi Arabia and said, okay, what we're going to do, Kissinger went over and said, we're going to protect you, provide you with military protection if you denominate oil sales in dollars. So at the latest, it would be the early 70s. So if we just be as conservative as possible, we're talking half a century, 50 years, 51 years, 52 to be exact, where we've seen the United States of America have the reserve currency status. On average, it's about 80 years, all right? So, and it doesn't go off like a light switch. There's a gradual decrease, and we're seeing that decrease now. Now, if you're an American or someone in the West, that's going to mean a lower standard of living for you, because the U.S. will not be able to continue to write blank checks for this vast military empire that we have all over the world. It will mean that we're not able to throw all this money at all of these other countries or at our own states here in America. So locally, you could see a decrease in municipal services, your police department, your fire department, because America just won't be able to afford it. Now, is this going to happen tomorrow? No, but the nail in the coffin, no, not the nail in the coffin, but a nail in the coffin. And I don't know how many nails it's going to take to, keep this cadaver down, but a nail in the coffin is certainly the Chinese the rise of the Chinese Petro Yuan, all right? Petro China completes first international crude oil trade in digital yuan. So again, they got that, their CBDC, digital yuan, is being used prominently here. Petro China, the corporation, bought 1 million barrels of crude oil settled in the e-cny, that's the name of their CBDC, China's CBDC. They did that at the Shanghai Petroleum and National Gas Exchange. Chinese oil and gas company Petro China went ahead and bought that commodity, according to Chinese news sources. They did not disclose the exact value of the deal, nor did they disclose the identity of the seller. But look, let's be real here. They didn't buy it from us, okay, because we're not on good terms, and we're not drilling for our resources here in America, okay? So they probably purchased this from Saudi Arabia or maybe even Russia, okay? One of the other countries that are like, hey, we're all with green energy, renewables, fine. But that's not something that we're going to just, flip a switch and be in the land of unicorns the next day. The other thing that's really duplicitous, and the United States is a duplicitous place. All governments are, right? But the United States is basically saying, okay, we've had our industrial revolution. We've built our infrastructure, which is crumbling in many cases. Now you, small African country that's just getting on your feet, you need to adopt green energy to support your infrastructure and your people, even though we didn't do that. Okay, and now we have some wacky ass idea that we're going to power the United States of America and this economy and grow it off of windmills and solar panels. Ain't happening. Trust me. And somewhere along the line, we will realize that. Now, should we adopt policies that are friendly for the environment? Absolutely. Okay. There's nothing wrong with having solar panels as long as you understand that it's probably not a sole solution. There's a solar field not far from my house, and we were being fed electricity from that field a few years back. And I called the power company to see how much money we were saving as a result of that. In fact, we weren't saving anything. We were paying more. And I promptly said, switch us back to the old way, because it's about money for me. The earth has been here for 4 billion years. It has seen all kinds of calamities like, meteor strikes that have wiped out the dinosaurs, what have you, the moon. Some say the moon, an object the size of the moon, crashed into the earth, ice ages, volcanoes, all kinds of things. And the earth just keeps on ticking. Now, you might want to say that a certain biosphere, like the dinosaurs or right now the humans, might not be supported by certain changes in the behavior or characteristics of the earth. But I can tell you one thing. You driving a Suburban is not going to destroy this planet. Guaranteed. All right? So China's government may wish to use the e-cny, again, their CBDC, as a tool for expanding the international use of its currency, also known as the renminbi. So using it to settle purchases of major global commodities like crude oil would be one way to underpin this expansion. So China has designs, of course, on expanding the reputation and the usability of its currency. Meanwhile, the United States continues to spend money and deflate the value of our currency, driving inflation higher and higher. While almost all the world's major economies are at least looking at developing a central bank digital currency, China's is comfortably among the most advanced. Transactions using the currency hit 1.8 trillion yuan, or $250 billion, as of the end of June, with the e-cny, again, their CBDC, accounting for 0.16% of the cash in circulation. So it's growing. Okay, they basically recently introduced it. It's growing. China can roll like that because they're a more authoritarian society. They don't need to go through a Congress, and they don't need to have a community meeting with you to figure out if you agree with it or not. None of that. No focus groups. Xi just says it's probably what we need to do. Him and his inner circle. All right, fine, let's do it. And everybody else falls in line. So don't take the speed at which they were able to implement that as an indicator of what your country may or may not be able to do. All right, guys, that's what's happening. We'll follow it. I'll talk to you soon.